I am Mike Chesk, as Betsy announced, and today I'm going to just give you some information on what has worked and what has been some of the challenges, but also the innovations that we've involved and evolved over the years. I want to put you in a little bit of space on what my story and my vision is. I've been with the school. This is my let's see here, 26th year in education. 25 of those have been spent at OSHA, seeing it evolve from the early years to where it is now, and I'll be sharing some statistics about it. I'm in my fourth year as being principal of the school, but I've been in the administrative team since 2006. And so a lot of the evolution and growth of the school, I've been there at the forefront of it. And in this role that I lead now, it is important to really think about and really share with you what is my vision for schools. And I hope it's probably something similar that you have. My vision is really quite simple. My vision for schools is that schools should be a place that kids want to go to each and every day. Simple as that. We don't have to put all the words in there that says you have to achieve greatly. You just have to enjoy going to school each day. And so really my challenge with my staff and what I espouse to them is, how do we create an environment where kids are excited to go each and every day, that they are meeting the needs of those kids, that they are having the great social connections, the great educational opportunities, and then at the end of the day, they are completely exhausted by the time they get home to their parents and can't wait to do it again the next day. That's the core of what I'm trying to do each and every day. And part of the admissions and revenues that we've really created is to try to create that culture and environment around us. A little bit of history about OSHA, because you'll see how that vision goes through. And just kind of starting with where we're at. We are located in downtown Santa Ana, and we have both a dual arts and academic focus for grades 7 through 12. And overall, we have 17 art conservatories and 5 schools that cover all of these different areas. Our history, we have been around for 37 years in Orange County, and it's evolved quite a bit. In 1987, when the school started, we were just 125 students as an after-school program on a comprehensive school campus. As we continued our evolution, where we are at now in our 37th year of existence, we have been on our own school site for the last 25 years, and we now have 2,300 students in all the programs that we listed before, and we have an operating budget of just over $40 million on an annual basis. This just gives you an overview of these are all of our arts conservatories, and this will become relevant as we talk about the admissions practices in a little bit, because ultimately, as we get back to the vision for learning, these students who are coming to fill and participate in the conservatories that have, this is what makes them happy. This is what we're trying to achieve. This is what we're trying to give them while we are also serving all of their academic needs. Just to give you some demographics about our school, we pull students from 5 different counties in Southern California. Like I said, 2,300 students. The vast majority of them come from Orange County itself, but we get students as far away as San Diego County, San Bernardino, Riverside, and LA County that are commuting by rail, by bus, by anything to come into our school on a daily basis. Our most recent class of 2023, this is our achievement status. I mean, we had nearly 400 graduates. This is a little braggadocious, but it is important as we talk about the types of learners that we're bringing into our school, and we're sending kids out into every single pathway that they want. What we have seen, and an evolution of change over the years, is that when the school first opened as a dedicated charter school in Orange County, the first one of its kind in Orange County, California in 2000, students definitely tended to go more into arts, either careers or majors post-graduation. We are now at about 50-50 of students that are going into arts-related majors and academic or traditional majors and careers that you see that. So we are serving a much broader sense of learners and types of needs in the school. We have a robust academic program that, while the arts is what attracts students to our school, the academics is also meeting their needs at a very high level. And then I always like to end with our mission and core values. We are really and absolutely committed to pre-professional training in the arts fields. That's going to, again, become important as we talk about the admissions practices. But ultimately, it is our core values and our mission that really sets the vision for our school and what we're trying to do with this community of learners who are all motivated by the same things. So as we talk about the evolution of admissions over the years, it does have to go back through the timeline that I shared with you. For those first 13 years of existence, as I mentioned before, we existed as an after-school program on the campus of Los Alamitos High School. So students enrolled in this comprehensive school with all the same things that you would normally see in a public comprehensive school: sports, dance teams, choir. And then after school, after they did all their academic classes, they would go up to what was known as OSHA Hill, and that's where they took their dance, their musical theater, or their different classes there. The admissions was highly, highly competitive because it was operated like a magnet program in a district facility. So students not only had to do an interdistrict transfer, in some cases get admitted to that, and then they also had to get accepted into Los Alamitos, which is a comprehensive public school in North Orange County. Soon after the 13 years, OSHA began to grow. And so in the year 2000, student enrollment rapidly increased when we got our own dedicated school site and we were, like I mentioned before, the first charter school in Orange County in that year. So charter schools in Orange County have only been around for the last 25 years, and we were the first ones. That first year, we had an enrollment of about 800 students. So anyone who wanted to enroll at OSHA, no matter the artistic talent, they could enroll there because that's what was filling the classrooms. That's what helped to employ the teachers, all of those pieces. Enrollment rapidly grew over the years as we added buildings to the point that we are now 11 buildings in a downtown urban environment, about 10 city acres between parking lots and building, and about 330,000 square feet of instructional space that we are managing, almost like a small college. So although the lottery existed at this time, it wasn't really a factor because anyone who had the artistic talent and the desire to come in, they were able to come into the school at that point. Over the next few years, things started to change a little bit. The ACLU began to really look at our admissions practices and said, you're creating barriers to admission. And we couldn't really say that we weren't. We had to continue to modify our admissions practices to rely less on some of the pieces that were there and really start to increase our opportunities and access, which ultimately was a good thing to allow and give kids more access to the arts than what we had there. But at the same time that this was happening, our charter authorizer, which at the time was Santa Ana Unified School District, they began to take a little bit closer attention to everything and began to have a little bit, I'll just say, oversight than what they had done in the previous years. At the same time that all this was happening, the political landscape was also beginning to change in California. Up until 2015, under the leadership of Jerry Brown as the governor of California, California was very charter friendly. But in the last 10 years, that shift has kind of gone the other way. And California Teachers Association, teachers unions, and the legislature has turned their attention away from charter schools. So that's an additional battle. And our application, although it was an application based, there was no barriers, no academic portion at all was a part of that. It was strictly based on artistic abilities. It is also important to note that we are a full service school that serving students across the entire needs of the learning spectrum. So I know I heard another individual talk about how charter schools get a bad rap for not serving all the needs. We are our own dedicated site with our charter SELPA in California and serving all those learners and all the needs that they have. In 2020, our charter authorizer changed because of the increasing political changes that were going on in the district and in the state. We were ultimately denied our charter renewal in 2020. And so in that year, at the same time that the pandemic was happening on all of our school sites, we also changed charter authorizers from Santa Ana Unified School District to the County Office of Education in OCDE. And we worked extensively with our legal team as part of that charter renewal to modify our admissions practices and make sure that not only were we compliant with charter laws, which we absolutely want to and need to be doing, but also making sure that we were continuing to put the types of students in our schools that were going to continue to thrive. And so the minimum proficiencies were established, which I'll describe a little bit more detail in a moment, to help maintain that level of rigor and that pre-professional training. And now the lottery is in complete use because we have maximized enrollment. We do not have any more space to grow. We have 2,300 students and there's no more room for that. So the lottery is in full force across all programs. So with these placement activities and minimum proficiencies, one of the key things about our admissions practices that is now in place that we share with all prospective families in the fall each year is that students have to complete a placement activity and achieve minimum proficiencies in each of the areas that they are applying to. And those rubrics and those achievements are communicated as part of the application process. It's not a surprise. And with the exception of one program, our Arts and Enterprise Conservatory, which has no minimum proficiency, hence the access, students have to meet this minimum proficiency in order to participate in the lottery and gain access. As we say to new families that there is a desire to be in the school, but you have to achieve that minimum proficiency in order to place your lottery entry into the lottery each year. Like I mentioned before, with the exception of the Arts and Enterprise Conservatory, every single applicant can only add in to the lottery in which they meet the minimum proficiency and complete all the placement activities. And each applicant is given 2 lottery entries that they can use however they want. As we can imagine, and I want to draw your attention to the 4th bullet point that keys how many lottery pools we conducted in the most recent round. We did 334 different lottery pools by grade level, conservatory, and in some cases, concentration areas where that might be a specific instrument, a specific type of dancer, a specific type of role in the program. So it's not just you want to come to attend the school, you are specifying which program you want to attend. During the time that we were all locked down back in 2020, my son said to me, he's now 16 and he attends a really, really great school that is not OSHA. But he said to me, he goes, "Dad, I think I want to go to OSHA." And I said, "Okay, what program would you be interested in?" He goes, "I don't know." And I said, "Then you don't want to go to OSHA because the students who are coming to our school, they know exactly what they want to study, and hence why we have as many lottery pools as we do." So when all the spaces are filled, the applicants are put on the wait list and we continue to pull it. So just this past Saturday, a week ago, we had our new student celebration where we welcomed approximately 500 new families onto campus. They did all of that new business paperwork, bringing in your birth certificates and the residency verifications. But that was across all of our grade levels and programs, with the biggest entry points being 7th grade and 9th grade for our campus. Why do we have the minimum proficiencies? It's really kind of key to have that. And like I mentioned before, we worked extensively with our legal team to make sure we were first compliant with charter law, but also making sure that we were providing the right amount of access for families. And so it really does maintain that pre-professional training that we need in order to maintain the high level of rigor. One of the key things that we always mention to families is that you cannot, unfortunately, come to our school and say, "I want to learn how to play the guitar." You have to know how to play the guitar because it's going to require that high level of rigor and training. So it establishes that all the students that are coming in have that same baseline. If you don't have those skills, that's exactly why we have different pathways into the school through our Arts and Enterprise Conservatory so that you can actually acquire those skills while you come in and then potentially audition, complete a placement activity for a new program later on, but it is not something that you can come and say, "I want to learn how to do this." You have to come in with that desire. And one of the key things as well is the student artist safety. This is most key in our dance conservatories. We have 4 different dance conservatories, and in the same manner that students have to have that level of skill like a guitar, you have to have that basic level of skill to be able to achieve and keep up pace in that class. We wouldn't want to put a student in a place where they could possibly injure themselves. And also, we wouldn't want to put a student in a place where they can't be successful. That's exactly why we've established our Arts and Enterprise Conservatory and our elective offerings, which usually draw from the same instructors, but it's done in the same manner as PE is taught on a campus. It's open to all students, and that is a training ground for students to be able to continue to get those opportunities So how do we create this whole vision? There won't be any huge surprises other than how we message to this, because just like any other public school in California or across the country, we are pulling state revenues in order to support the vast majority of our operations. But that's not the only thing, because we do not get $42 million from the state of California to operate our school. So our message that we always say, and that I'm sharing with you, is that we are a donation-dependent public charter school. We are always also caveat that is that we are tuition free, but each year our foundation that we have established is tasked with raising approximately $10 million to help offset and support the school. And most of that is done through the partnership with parents and the giving that we ask of them. We do ask parents to make a voluntary contribution in the tune of about $6,000 each year. Historically, parents have funded at about the rate of about 70% of the ask to give ratio. So that has been a very good historical trend. I'll come back to that point in a moment, but that's been a very good historical trend in order to help build budgets and craft the learning opportunities. All that, and it is very keenly emphasized, it is not required for students. And we work very, very diligently to not share any of the fundraising efforts with the program directors to create a nexus of this parent gave and therefore they were cast in a show or in a lead or any of that. So it is kept very, very keenly that only 2 individuals, me not being one of them, are aware of the fundraising dollars on campus. And our message to families, and this is maybe the how this could translate to your own sites, is that we know our parents, our families are consumers of education. Our students in our schools, and mine included, would not be looking for that opportunity unless they wanted something more than what they were getting at their other schools. And so we lean heavily into this whole aspect of parents being consumers of education and them wanting what is best for their children and looking for the best opportunities. Over the years, we have transitioned away from comparing ourselves to the best public schools, and we are now comparing ourselves to the best private schools in the area and the amount of dollars that they're asked for. In the totality of our program offerings, we are spending approximately $18,000 per student to offer the complete program. And so our messaging to our families and our parents at the annual parent giving meetings is really, you are getting a private school-like education on public school dollars. And so in the messaging and the giving and the value of what they can receive from this opportunity, not only to satisfy their child's needs, but also the continued academic opportunities and artistic opportunities out there, then it is a much better value compared to the same private school offerings that are in our area or that would be in your area as well. Other revenue streams, these may be a little bit more familiar. It's just what we are always typically doing. Philanthropic giving. When I return back to California on Friday, we have our annual Black Tie Gala. We hope to raise about $2 million at that on Saturday night. So that's going to be the goal. But also the arts community in our area, and I would imagine around the country, is very much tied together. And so leaning into that whole bank of giving. More recently, and this is really has been a new and exciting revenue stream, is our Career Technical Education State Grants. CTE is the acronym that we call it. And at the same time that we were changing our charter authorizers, the state of California changed ed code in our state that required every single teacher in charter schools to have a California teaching credential. So the flexibility that we had all enjoyed in our school sites of being able to employ the educators that are going to be best for our kids, we had to pivot to that. And so we worked with our teachers to help them acquire their CTE credentials, which is a much easier, it's not as robust a pathway as a single subject credential in California, but it still has the same pedagogical preparation and it meets the legal needs. That opened up the opportunities for us to apply to a massive amount of CTE grants. And as you can see, over the last few years, we've been able to generate nearly $1 million in additional revenue to help offset all the operations and really pay for the stuff that goes into classes, materials, computers, new lighting systems, new audio systems. And that has been a huge relief, especially as things continue to evolve. And that's really where we kind of get to the point. I mean, I've shared with you a lot of historical knowledge about what has been working and what has been successful over the years. But it's time to pivot, because we have realized, just like I'm sure many of you have also been realizing on your sites, inflation's killing a lot of people right now. It is hard for families to make ends meet. And so in the same manner as that, while we have created a great school and we will continue to create a great learning experience, it is harder for families to give at the level that they have given before. And so it is time for us to pivot and rethink what our business model may look like, which requires less on the parent giving the soft money of the parent voluntary ask, and figure out how to harden some of those costs to make sure that we can continue to sustain this really great program without having to rely and ask so much of our parents. That is a huge shift for us. And next year is going to be a lot of introspective examination of what is going to be best as we re-examine and rebuild our business model. I appreciate everyone allowing me the space to share what has worked and maybe not worked all the time at the Orange County School of the Arts over our 37-year history. I think who knows what the next 37 years will be like for us and for your schools, but I hope that you are able to gain some nuggets of information and apply it to your schools. My contact information is on the screen. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. More than happy to share all of our experience. Have a good rest of your conference.